Max, thank you so much for joining me. How's things going? How have you found the international break?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, been working really hard. Tough day today in training, but yeah, most of the boys are going to be back soon. So excited to get everyone back and yeah, ready for the weekend.
What does it feel for a player to, play a few games and then go straight into an international break? Does it break it up a little bit, or are you used to it?
To be fair, we've been doing it it's been like this for the last couple of seasons, so it's something we've become more used to. But yeah, of course it's tough. Obviously coming back from a good result last weekend, we obviously want to carry on the momentum, and obviously the international break does break it up. But of course it's something we, as players, you've got to adapt to and yeah, just to deal with.
Would you say it's a good time to reflect on the season so far?
I think it's still really early. Of course, I think us and I think other teams are still we still brought lots of new players. The transfer deadline just finished as well, so we just signed a few players as well. So it's a tough period, but of course it's still quite early to make a full judgment.
Yeah, and you mentioned the result that you had against Nottingham Forest. That was a great result, but obviously the season started, a few losses back to back. How do you guys reflect on that? Have you spoke to the manager? What has been said?
Of course, we weren't happy with the start, but I think the game against Forest was a game that we all knew that we had to put in a good performance. Just not necessarily only the result, but obviously play well, improve defensively, and I think that's something we've done. And I think now that's going to build the foundation, hopefully, that we can push on and perform more like this throughout the season.
When things aren't going in your favour, how do you think it's best to communicate to fans that you are trying and that you are on the right track?
I think it's part and parcel of being a footballer. Of course, there's going to be moments where football's really tough, and results are not going your way, but we've got to stick together. And I think we've got a good enough dressing room. Yeah, we've got some leaders in the squad and some really good players. But even through tough times, good times, we can keep our heads level and yeah, just keep improving and yeah, doing our best.
What has been the key takeaway, would you say, from these games? The fact that I saw in the first game, the celebrations, the team was together. It seems like sometimes when you go through bad periods, it might help the team get together. Definitely,
for sure. And I think after the first two games where we didn't start so well, I think it's only got us to get more together as a group. And you can see in the third game, of course, after the celebrations, the togetherness. And I think sometimes you even losing, makes you more together, makes you closer. And of course, you've got to take positives from even in bad performances.
And one thing we noticed as well from those games is that obviously you were playing a three at the back and then went to back four, got a great result. Was that something that was expected, or was it literally a shift because of the Forest game? You wanted to adapt to them, or is it just something that the manager just did?
Yeah, obviously something the manager, because I think in football, you always got to adapt. The Premier League, the level is so high, it's becoming more tactical, and yeah, every team has different formations, different styles of play, and obviously you just got to adapt, and sometimes you've got to make certain adjustments. And I think as players, you just need to be ready for change and adapt to anything that happens.
And which system do you prefer? Do you prefer playing three at the back, four at the back? Sometimes centre backs say, three at the back, you get more care around you. Four, you might be exposed a little bit more, but you played in multiple different formations.
Yeah, as you said, I've played in a lot, but to be honest, I don't really care. As long as just want to defend and do well, and it doesn't matter.
Is it something that, when the gaffer says that to you, that you're going to change the system, is it something that you're happy about in a sense, because you feel like you're going to start a new game with something new? Sometimes when you're not getting results, it might be nice to switch things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to that. Of course, yeah, if you want to change to a new style, of course, that obviously you might be a bit uncomfortable, or at the same time you might want to do something different. So I think as players, everyone has their own different views, and you just got to take it all on board. And of course, whatever the manager says, you've got to try the best possible solution to adapt and to deal with it.
Yeah, we know Graham Potter, he's a versatile manager. He do loads of different formations. How has it been learning under him?
Yeah, of course, it's been great. I think since him and his staff have come in, they've helped a lot the team, and of course for me, it's definitely helped a lot defensively. Of course, something I always want to improve on as a defender. So I think they've done a lot of work with us as a back line, and you can see like the intensity, the work they put in. Graham and his staff is top.
Has there been anything specific that you've tried to do during this international break?
To be fair, we've been working a lot. I think there's not all the whole squad is back, so it's difficult to do as much as we can. But it's been a good graft. We've been working really hard, and just working on how we're gonna prepare for the next game.
Yeah, and also you've had quite a few changes in the back line and goal as well. How is it adjusting to new players when you're starting a new season?
It's the Premier League. Of course, you've got such good squads. So much competition, and of course you're going to be playing maybe sometimes with a different partner, different goalkeeper, different players. So just part of adapting to the demands of how good the Premier League is.
Is it something that you take on your own shoulders when you've obviously got the experience that you've got, new players coming in, new league like you mentioned? Is it something that you do to kind of get the players more comfortable in that environment?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got a good mix of players, from different nationalities. So when you've got a player coming from Spain or France or whatever country, we've got a good mix already. But we've got some senior players as well that can really help the player gel and get comfortable, because we've had a few new boys and I think they've adjusted really well, and credit to them as well, because coming into a new league is not easy, but they've managed themselves really well, and they're really helping us.
Now, I've done a little bit of research on you, and obviously I knew that you played futsal, and I saw that you said that if you could play in any other position, it would be an attacking midfielder. Obviously, Bowen and Paqueta, they were great against Nottingham Forest. How happy are you with how they are, and is it a shock to you how well they deal with adversity and things not going in their favour at times?
I think you mentioned them too, and I think of course all the other fours we have to they've got top mentality, and I think you need to in this league you need to find ways to break down teams and to find ways to score, and I think they're top players, and I think they're only going to improve and get better as the season goes on, as they're building their confidence slowly. So I think throughout the season we're going to see big things from them.
Yeah. What is it like from a player's perspective when you're seeing top players, like you said, being linked with other clubs, but you're seeing them maintain their professionalism, still scoring goals, still being a part of the side? What is it like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I'm sure it could be really challenging for players, of course, if there's things, external noise going on, of course. But I think players have to adapt and have to deal with these circumstances. And I think, to be honest, we've had some players that have a lot of interest, but they've kept their head down and they've been performing on the pitch. So as credit to them.
Love that. And do you think you could do a job up there in the Premier League?
No chance. I don't think I would even get close to scoring there.
Well, you've got the height, you might be able to.
I've got the height, but it's different. It's different. I'll just stay at the back, stick at the back, yeah.
Speaking of attacking midfielders, we know that your next game is against an old colleague of yours, Mohamed Kudus. Do you have any specific plans to stop him? Have you told any of the new players that this is something that he does that we can kind of get on?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, first of all, he's a great player, and he done really well in his first season for West Ham. But of course, he's a rival now. He's an opponent, and of course we want to stop him. And of course we've got some new fullbacks as well, so obviously going to be up against him, like Malik, Kyle. So of course we need to tell them a few little tips, and of course we'll tell them the strengths of Mo. Of course as we said, he's a top player, but we need to stop him.
And we've seen how Spurs have started under Thomas Frank. Started really well. Does that give the team a little bit of extra motivation to kind of stop them in their run of form?
To be honest, no. I think we're more focused on us. Of course, we had a good result last game, as we mentioned, and something we just want to build on. Of course, Tottenham started the season well, but it doesn't really matter. We want to do well ourselves, and we need to concentrate on us. And if we do that, we've obviously got more chance of doing well in the game and doing well throughout the season.
And what would you say your expectations are for this Premier League season?
I think we kind of sat down before the start of the season, and we're not a team that wants to set goals throughout to the end of the season. We obviously want to have the game by game mentality, and I think that's probably the best way. And of course we want to compete in every game. We want to go out and win every game. Of course, Premier League is such a tough league, but we've got enough quality in the dressing room, and we're really gelling as a squad. So just to take it game by game, and every game we play, try get a good result.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I'm
Cheers.
hoping to see you in the opposing box, getting some headers and
Hopefully.
shots in.
I need to. Cheers. Thank you.